Hello, I'm Dalton Coppage, and for our fifth and final SBL, I will be analyzing question 2, which states give a real life example or an actual case of social engineering other than the one mentioned in the slides. All right, so to start off, let me define what social engineering is. In relation to information security, obviously, social engineering is the use of deception to manipulate individuals into divulging confidential or personal information that may be used for fraudulent purposes. In simpler terms, it would be to portray something or someone in order to gain financial benefit. And it could also be to gain personal information amongst other things as well. And with that being said, there are many different types and techniques to social engineering, but the case that I will be talking about is an example of pretexting. And pretexting, in the simplest terms, is having a scripted scenario to present in front of targets for some type of gain. All right, now that all the terms are out of the way, let's dive into the case. So our attacker is named Kyle Bollinger, and one day Kyle saw a post on Twitter stating, this is gonna be it word for word. It's a little wrong, but if you go to dinner alone, always ask for a table for two. Look sad as you eat, and you will almost always get a free dessert. So after reading that, Kyle went live on Twitter and tried this out for himself. By going live, I mean Kyle then posted pictures and interactions with waiters on Twitter, expressing his actions throughout his time at Chili's, and Kyle would leave subtle clues or hints to his physical public about his circumstances. So here are some pictures of like what Kyle was posting on his Twitter, just some pictures of like various things, what he was ordering, and he was tweeting. So, but I'm going to talk about it obviously because you can't see that stuff. All these hints and clues like that he was dropping, it started with a fake phone call as he sat down at the table, and he called a lady named Jamie, leaving a message asking where she was and if she was still showing up. So Kyle then orders the dinner for two option that Chili's has so conveniently that night. And Kyle then fills his Twitter audience in with guests around me have started to notice, as well as my server, that I have been stood up. And by filling his Twitter audience in, I was just referencing his tweets that he was posting in this article. But some other things Kyle did included drinking his water 3 times. So while he was sitting down, he just killed 3 glasses of water to keep getting the server to come back so he can talk to him and like see what's going on and like manipulate him further. And he also ordered an appetizer and was eating it extremely slowly to pass the time, so people around him could notice that he's been sitting there for a while and still hasn't ordered anything real, like any real food yet. And Kyle then continues to drop hints saying to the waiter that she'll be here, and he called the fake Jamie person again, leaving a loud voicemail stating, "Where are you and are you coming?" And obviously the waiter starts to gain sympathy and falls a little bit into the trap. After 2 tables around Kyle had sat, dined, and paid, Kyle informed the waiter that he didn't think she was ever planning on coming. So at the end, Kyle got not only his dessert paid for, but his whole meal, and proving once again that we should always believe everything we read. And that's it. Just joking now. This is a very minor but crystal clear example of pretexting in social engineering. Kyle created this fabricated scenario of himself getting stood up on a date. In this scenario, he was able to effectively deceive the waiter into trusting him through the conversation and fake phone calls, because he kept bringing him back to the table and making these phone calls and making him further into the trap like I was talking about earlier. And though Kyle didn't use his situation to gain any personal information from the waiter himself, Kyle was able to effectively manipulate the waiter into exploiting the structural weakness of the restaurant by providing him a free meal for no legitimate reason. And the legitimate reason being like the food was cooked wrong, or it was not what they ordered, something like that. Though a very simple and minor damage example, this is my case on social engineering, and thank you for listening.